Hey, good morning, everyone. Just a quick heads up, we're about 5 minutes away or so. So 5 minutes away from a very special announcement involving our friends at Force Indy. We're glad you're here this morning at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So stand by, about 5 minutes away.
Recording in progress.
Well, once again, good morning and welcome to the world's greatest race course. My name is Dave First with IndyCar and the NTT IndyCar Series. Great to see everyone this morning. You braved the cold, braved the snow to get here, and we're very appreciative of that. Before we get started, a couple of housekeeping items for everyone here in person, reporters, photographers. If you have a question, there's a standing microphone located to your left. And we also welcome those of you joining us virtually on the video news conference. We will get to your questions. Go ahead and hit that virtual raised hand button, and Kate Davis from our staff is monitoring all of that. Once we get through a couple questions here in person, I will take questions from you folks momentarily. So stand by for that. Well, joining us today in the middle, Coach Rod Reed, who is, of course, the team principal of Force Indy. After some 40 years or so of auto racing experience and his outstanding work, of course, with NXG Youth Motorsports as a president and CEO. To his left, you'll get to know driver Ernie Francis Jr. momentarily. To the far left here, we welcome Mark Miles, president and CEO of Penske Entertainment Corporation, and on the far right, Jimmy McMillan, who is, of course, the chief diversity officer of Penske Entertainment Corporation. It was just over a year ago, hard to believe, but just over a year ago when we witnessed the launch of a groundbreaking and completely diverse team in open wheel racing called Force Indy, a team that focused on diversity through mechanics, engineers, drivers, and other key members on the team, and led by Coach Rod Reed, who is guiding this African-American-led ownership group who has an eye on one day soon, competing in the NTT IndyCar Series. After a very successful first season as a team, including a win at New Jersey Motorsports Park, it is time now for the next step. In 2022, it's an upgrade in class as Force Indy will compete in the Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires Championship, and it will do so with Haitian-American Ernie Francis Jr. as the driver. All this as the season is certainly quickly approaching. During Black History Month, no less, the season begins Sunday, February 27th on the streets of St. Petersburg. Can't wait, especially when you look out the window. Let's start with Rod. Congratulations. How important is this next step for you in this organization, Rod?
Well, Dave, you know, it's so important to us to continue this journey that we started about a year ago. And also, my goal and the goal of the team is to really develop talent that's from the communities, black and brown communities. And that's something that we've done from the very beginning, trying to bridge that. And today, we're here to announce moving up the ladder. And we started last year with USF 2000, and we were really excited about doing that. I think we were quite successful. I feel really great that the team put together what we consider a top 10 winning effort. And of course, we had a win in August last year with our driver then, Miles Rowe, who is gone on to continue in USF 2000 actually this year, and was just glad to be able to develop him. And then today, to announce us moving into Indy Lights with Ernie Francis Jr. is so exciting, especially to maintain our legacy.
Ernie, congratulations. I know you've driven and won in a lot of machines. What does it mean now for you to hop up 2022 Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires Championship? How big of a step is this for your career?
I mean, this is probably one of the biggest steps that I've taken in my career. This is just an incredible opportunity for me. If you told me a year ago that I'd be racing in the Indy Lights Series, I would have never believed you. But I'm just so excited to get out there on track. I remember back in 2013, my first pro race was around St. Pete, so really excited to get there this year and get on track.
Tell us about your progress a little bit. We talked about the wins, certainly Trans Am, 7-time champion there, a couple wins last season in your first dive into open wheel racing, and certainly SRX, the win not too far away at Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. Tell us about your career a little bit and maybe why you're ready for this next step.
Yeah, you know, this last year was a lot of different racing for me, racing Trans Am, and then diving into the SRX series, trying out some dirt ovals and some short ovals there. And then my first races in open wheel racing in the FR America series. So I really got my feet wet in all different kinds of backgrounds of racing, and was lucky enough to win a race in every series I competed in last year. And then we've done a lot of testing now, and feeling pretty ready for this Indy Lights series. Really pretty prepped for this season. Think we'll be competitive, and looking forward to having some good results out there.
Yeah, can't wait. Congratulations, young man. Mark, this is certainly another step in the evolution of the race for equality and change, an exciting step, certainly as IndyCar also takes over and assumes operational control of the Indy Lights series as a whole. It's a big, big day, and the momentum certainly building towards next month.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Let me just start by saying congratulations to Coach Reed, a person we've gotten to know and have enormous respect and affection for, and to Stu and the whole Force Indy team for, I think this is a big step to go from USF 2000 and be in Lights 1 year later. And we all know, I think it's been said, that the next step is really the big one. And you guys are doing great work to position yourselves to get to that. And Ernie, we're delighted to get to know you, and delighted that you will have this opportunity in Lights. And hopefully it means in another year or two you'll be right out there for the Indianapolis 500-mile race. It's exciting for us. You know, it was July of 20 when we announced what was coined the race for equality and change, and we wanted folks to know for us it wasn't a thing. It was a constant thing. It was the way we want to be as an organization and as a group that can foster and celebrate diversity in our businesses and in racing and in our communities in general. And so a lot has been done, a lot of it, most all of it, under the leadership of Jimmy McMillan in this time period. You don't see us working hard on as an employer of full-time people, of seasonal people, yellow shirts out here that everybody knows, and all the other people that make the Indy 500 happen. There's a big effort to recruit diverse people into that workforce. In our procurement, the people we do business with as a business, in helping try to support your efforts with Next Gen Racing and that great avenue to get kids exposed to racing. So many things are going on. We're always impatient. We need to do more faster. But I do think we're making progress, and I think the thing the outside world sees is Force Indy and Beth Paredes' efforts last year as well, I would say. So for you all to be moving up and to know that this is really a sustainable program that you've built a great foundation for is exciting for us. And for it to be a special way, I think, to focus attention on Indy Lights presented by Cooper Tires this coming season is just super. I want to congratulate Levi for joining us and for getting his hands around it all, and Jay and his team at IndyCar for really adopting Lights. No doubt that it's going to meet our objectives immediately of making the Indy Lights team experience, the driving experience, really closer to IndyCar, so that it's that much more of a valuable step on the ladder to get to the show and IndyCar. So congrats to everybody involved in Lights. We're looking forward to a big season there. Thanks.
Yeah, and the countdown is on. Just a quick reminder, for questions, we'll do so here in just a second. We have a standing microphone located to the left. There's also an unveiling. Once we are done here, we invite you to come down and join us on the victory podium for the unveiling of the Force Indy number 99.
The snowman.
We're going to bundle up before we do that. That's exactly right. But I also, Jimmy McMillan's, he's dying to chime in on this. And Jimmy, you were able to see firsthand last year the impact that Force Indy had as a program, and now elevating to Indy Lights. What does it mean for the growth and development of the program here for Penske Entertainment?
It's absolutely moving every time I'm in the room with Coach Reed, to know that for over 16 years and beyond, but for 16 years, he's committed himself to creating this environment where I look out upon a team of young men and women who have expressed an interest in motorsports, expressed an interest in engineering, expressed an interest in driving, and through his passion and dedication, he's created a way, first with Miles Rowe last year, who became the first African-American to win an IndyCar sanctioned event, and Rod becoming the first African-American owner to win an IndyCar sanctioned event, and now the opportunity for Ernie, with all of his accolades, all of the championships he's won, to now take this team in Indy Lights to the next level. It is personally inspiring, and I can't say enough about the pipeline that's being created and the things that people don't see. And so while we created Force Indy, I think what will live with me the most is on Indy 500 Sunday last year, as I walked up and down the pits, I saw members of the Force Indy team who were working in the pits on other teams who were in the 500. And these are folks who started out in NXG Youth Motorsports as go-kart racers and learned STEM concepts, and at one point in time weren't even considered for these teams, and now they were working in the pits. That's what we're trying to create. Force Indy is one pipeline, but we need a lot more. And as I talked to Jay, and he's working on from an IndyCar side to bring people through his pipeline on IndyCar, through internships and other opportunities. If we talk to other teams and they continue to reach out and express interest, it's exciting that we're here having this conversation, and I think it bodes well. And it's thanks to Roger Penske and all of the things that he's done to make this happen.
Well said. Let's go ahead and open it up for questions. Again, those of you joining us on the video news conference, stand by. We'll get to you in just a second. Let's begin, though, here in person with Steve Wittich.
Hey, guys. Congratulations. Big day. Ernie, has it sunk in that you're one step away from driving around this track in an IndyCar for the Indy 500?
It definitely has sunk in a little bit. Every time I come to this place, it's just so incredible driving through the gates, and you see the pagoda, you see the grandstands, and to think that there's a shot that I could race out there one day, and that it's could be a reality is really incredible. And I'm just so excited to get out there on track and see how we go and take it from there.
Good. And Coach Reed, last year when we talked about this, it was about getting more visibility in the black and brown community. When you've been out in the Indianapolis community, have you noticed a difference in the what racing means, and have you noticed a difference in the attitudes towards racing?
I certainly have. I think for us, especially when we came last year as Force Indy for the first time running in a large event, we had people who came out with us. I think we had about 80 to 100 people that supported us. Those not only from my NXG program, but others in the community. I had people who contacted us via our social media. So we're certainly getting the word out. I think that's a big part of what we're doing is awareness. And it starts with doing things like this, telling folks that we're here, come on out, follow us. But I think the bigger thing for us, and why I'm so excited about the Indy Lights program, is that now we're going to be on a stage where we can expose our communities, plural, to all of the racing, not just Indy Lights, but also IndyCar, so they can start to learn those folks. But I think it's a win-win for everybody.
Good. And one more. I noticed a couple guys that have been here with the team, Stu. And what have you had to do to the organization to step up to the next level?
Surprisingly, very little. I think these young men, you see them here, especially Stu, Derek. We've added Sidney Gomez as well as Krishan Hall to our crew, and they were ready last year. These are young men that had experience long before they came to Force Indy. We just were able to hone that with the relationship and the mentoring from Team Penske. So I think we're ready. This was our plan from the very beginning to move up the ladder, and we're on the way.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Brad Brown from WRTV.
Ernie, regarding your SRX experience, not so much from the racing aspect, but a chance to share some knowledge with guys who have raced in IndyCar. What was your takeaway from being around that group of racers?
That group was absolutely amazing to be around. I know, you get to the racetrack there, and we'd have 2 motorhomes, and it'd be six drivers in one, 6 drivers in the other. And I remember one of the races I was out there, and I had Elio, I had Tony Kanaan, I had Paul Tracy, I had Bill Elliott, and I had Tony Stewart in mind that I was with. And it was just so cool to hear their stories and talk to them about everything that they've been through. Elio was sitting there passing around his rings, showing everybody all of his hardware there, which was really cool. And just to talk with them about experience that they have throughout their lives and things that they've been through to get to where they are, and then advice that they've given me over the course of those 6 weeks in SRX was truly awesome. So I'm excited to hopefully implement some of that stuff that they told me and get to the next level.
Thanks, man. Congrats.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Katira Winfrey with Which TV. This is a question for Ernie. So I know a lot of people get into racing because they love it, but is it lost on you or is it not lost on you that you are going to be a symbol for other people to look up to? I don't know if you've had people to look up to you, but has it dawned on you what you might mean for someone else?
It definitely has a little bit. I mean, growing up racing out here, I've always been, a younger kid, and being from a Haitian American background, I look different than most of the other race car drivers out there. And I noticed that when I go to the racetrack, kids will naturally want to come talk to me and see me at the racetrack, and they always want to know how I got started. And I really enjoy talking to kids about that, and I'll have their parents messaging me on Instagram and just trying to find out more information. I send them pictures, send them out stuff, and so I understand that the younger generation definitely looks up to me as a driver, and I'm ready for that and looking forward to it.
Awesome. And this is the last question for Ron, but after I ask it, I'm going to run back to my camera because I have to switch it. So, so you also made waves during the first round with Indy Force, and you've also become like this figure in showing minority communities what's attainable. How does that weigh on you, or how does that sit on you even more to know that you have an even bigger job to do?
Well, I think it happens that, we've been doing this a long time. This is, as they say, no one gets into racing, even though it may seem like the first time, but I started when I was in my 20s, like most young people do. And since that time, I've had to address the idea of potentially being the first or the only. And I think it comes down to two things: integrity and performance. And that's what I try to instill in our team, that, we've got to perform well anyway. We want to win races. I want to make sure everybody understands that as we sit here and we talk about programs for diversity and inclusion, that's a goal. But that's right along with us performing well and winning races. So I think if we do that, then we become role models for all.
Thanks, Katira. We have some questions on the video news conference. Kate Davis, go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, we have a few questions from the folks on the Zoom. We'll start with Jeroen Demendal from Feeder Series Americas.
Thanks, Kate. My first question is for both Coach Reed and Ernie. What do you expect to slot in the order this year, also given the fact that you've missed a few test sessions compared to some of the other teams?
First, no. No, I think it's, we don't have any illusions about the fact that the learning curve is great for us as a team. It was the same way last year. Our goal is to, as I just said, perform to the ability that we have and do the best we can. We think that when we go out there, it's going to be super competitive. We had an opportunity to do some testing with other teams that have been around for quite a while, and I think at one time at the Chris Griffith's test, they were about a second and a half between the quickest and the least quick, and that's pretty tight when you think about here in Indianapolis going on the road course. But it's going to be competitive, and all we can do is the best we can, and hopefully we run up front. What do you think, Arnie?
Yeah, I'm a very competitive person, winning a lot of races in my past, so I don't like going out there and losing. But, I think we'll be fairly quick. We haven't had as much testing as some of the other teams have had in this offseason, but I think that we'll pick it up every race that we go out there, and we're going to try our best every event, and I think we can all expect to have our best results in the second half of the year and really be pretty strong by then.
Yeah, sounds good. And Coach Reed, are there any plans for expansion of the into a Force Indy ladder system throughout the road to Indy? I know that some people, including myself, were slightly surprised by the abandonment of the USF 2000 program.
At this point, our concentration is obviously on the Indy Lights program. We want to do well at every step and that we take on the road to Indy. I think in the future, certainly when we talk about developing talent, and when we talk about talent, as Jimmy McMillan said, we're talking about across the board, whether it's mechanics, engineers, et cetera, and having opportunities for those to work up and down the ladder system would be great. But I think it's important to note that we want to concentrate on the things that we have in front of us. And to go beyond that at this point probably wouldn't be very wise, but who knows what the future will hold.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks, Kate.
Thanks. Next, we'll go to Bruce Martin from Speed Sport. Go ahead, Bruce.
Hey guys, congratulations on the big news. Ernie, when you look at the Indy Lights machine, how does that compare to some of the other cars that you've driven? And also IndyCar's goal of bringing the performance level more in tune with what the IndyCar is. I mean, that thing could end up being a beast for you.
Yeah, definitely the Indy Lights car is a lot different than anything else I've driven. Luckily, I've actually driven a Lights car before. Back in 2015, I did a test in one, so I had a little bit of experience in one before I hopped in it for the first time at the Chris Griffiths test. But yeah, the car's a lot different than anything I've driven. It's a lot faster than the FR car that I raced last year. The power feels very similar to our Trans Am cars. The biggest thing for me to get adjusted to was just the downforce levels, being able to trust that the downforce is going to hold the car to the track, and to be able to trust that without seeing it happen. So that was the biggest challenge that I've had to overcome in the testing that we've been doing. But I adapted to the car pretty well now, and I think I got a good feel for it.
And also, this is a question that for you and also for Rod and for Jimmy. Your victory in SRX coming on national TV, how much do you think that raised your awareness level? I mean, a lot of people in racing knew who you were, but the general audience probably didn't. And now all of a sudden, Ernie Francis Jr. was a name that people had seen win a race on national TV. How important was that in maybe helping develop your career and for the other two gentlemen to discuss considering you for this opportunity?
Yeah, no, I think, that SRX win was a huge boost for me to run out there and with the level of guys that were competing in the series and the championships and wins behind those guys. So to get a win out there was really a big boost for me. And I think that's what really helped me get this opportunity. So I'm just so grateful for being able to race in SRX last year. And, it's so crazy, after the end of the SRX series last year, I didn't think that open wheel was where I was going to end up going. I thought after that they were going to put me in something in stock car racing. And then when this opportunity came up, I jumped right on it because I've always had dreams of racing at the 500, have dreams of racing at these big open wheel races. So to be able to do it is truly incredible.
Yeah, I would say without question, noticing Ernie after he won that race did a lot for me and for the team to take a look at our future. And then after we decided that we were going to go to Indy Lights, we knew we had to find someone that could step up to that level. And Ernie had actually been on our list of drivers at the very beginning, so I knew of him. I had never met him, but knew of his accomplishments in Trans Am. So when we started the program, we looked around at various drivers, and as he said, he wasn't in open wheel, so we thought, well, maybe that's not a place to start, but this opportunity, I think, is a perfect one with his background and experience.
Yeah, I think Rod summed it up earlier when he said that our goal is not just to be present, but to win. And that's one thing that Ernie brings to the table and is known for is winning. Thanks to his win in SRX, but it's also his rest of his career. I think he's one of the most known drivers of color that is out there, and particularly his age and being younger. I think he presents a great opportunity for us not only to just be present as a team that represents a team of color, but to also be competitive and win in what is a really condensed time frame, right? I think there's people who are going to be shocked that we're going to Indy Lights, but then when you put Ernie in the car and you look at what the team was able to accomplish last year, and then you take Rod's experience and you start saying, whoa, these guys can go out and really make some noise this year, and that gets people excited, and that's what we want. And so I'm personally looking forward to every race this year and watching Ernie compete and taking the success he had last year and bringing it over to Indy Lights and really showing us what he can do.
Thanks, guys, and good luck.
Thanks, Bruce. We have one more from the Zoom, and we'll go to Tim Haraney. Tim, go ahead.
Thanks very much, Kate. Appreciate it. Congratulations, Ernie. I'm just curious how this deal kind of all came together for you. Did Coach Reed approach you sort of out of the blue, or did you approach him?
I actually was in Brainerd, Minnesota, getting ready to load into a Trans Am race, and my phone rang, and it was a Michigan phone number, and it was Roger Penske on the phone. And that's something that was quite a shock. He introduced himself. I kind of didn't say anything for the first 10 seconds. I thought it was a joke at first. And then, after we talked for a few minutes, he invited me out to Indianapolis to meet with him and meet with Rod and then the rest of his team. And we sat down and, talked about a few things there, and things just started to get put together from there.
That's awesome. Also, Ernie, will you be doing other racing outside of Indy Lights this season?
Right now, my primary focus is the Indy Lights series. I want to make sure that we can be competitive out there and get the results that we want. So I think this will be my primary focus. If I do any other races, it'd have to be, well in advance and figure out the schedule between what I'm doing with Indy Lights.
Thanks very much, Ernie. Really appreciate it. Just one question for Coach Reed. Congratulations, Coach Reed, making this step up from USF 2000. Will you be working with any other teams to get up to speed on the driver's side, like sharing data at all?
Well, as you can imagine, there's a lot of information that we need to have. And as we did last year, we actually worked with a couple of teams to help create sort of a technical alliance with us. We don't have a formal one right now, but we have been talking to, and everybody's been very, very supportive throughout the paddock at the Indy Lights level. So the answer is yes. It's going to be an ongoing sort of fluid relationship and not one singular relationship, but we expect to have those alliances throughout the season.
Great. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate it. Congratulations, and thanks, Kate.
Thanks, Tim. Dave, that's all we have from the Zoom. Back to you.
Thanks, Kate. Unless there's a follow-up for now, let's go ahead and break. Bundle up. And please join us down at Victory Podium. We encourage, there's some ice, some snow developing on the steps just outside the doors here on the 4th floor, so please take the elevator down to the 2nd floor and then take that catwalk across. Again, be very careful as you cross the catwalk. Meet us over to the Victory Podium. We'll have car unveiling there, and then for those that would like one-on-ones, tell you what we'll do, we'll come back inside for those, so stand by, and we'll do that indoors as well. So stand by, come on down, join us on the 2nd floor at Victory Podium.